Hey everyone, this is the Astrofiend, and I thought I'll just do a random ass podcast. I haven't done one in such a long time, and I know I've been really inconsistent with that, but honestly, on some real shit, I really don't care. And I have to remind myself that I don't care. Because I don't know, but it's been a while since I've done a talking video. I've been recording and scheduling astrology song videos and just putting it out because everyone's on lockdown and are not going anywhere. So we have a lot of free time on our hands if you're not working from home. Yeah, but I haven't done a podcast in I think 2 years. Because, first of all, I don't even know who's listening. I got I don't know, but I don't know who the hell is listening. If anyone's listening at all. But I thought I'll just do one because I felt like it. That's the whole point of my YouTube sort of channel thing. Is one, is because I feel like it, and two, is because I don't know, it's a creative outlet for me. It's not to be honest, I don't know where I want to go with it. And even when I started, I thought I knew where I wanted to go, but I'm not sure where I want to go in terms of my YouTube. So it's kind of all over the place, but honestly, I don't mind it being that way. Honestly. Because in the beginning, I was oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. But I'm listen, I'm doing this at my own free time, and the bottom line, if I'm doing it for myself, then there should not be any pressure. There shouldn't be any pressure. I shouldn't feel pressured or feel ashamed if I'm not doing this or that. It's supposed to be fun, and that's my whole point. The whole point in me starting the Astrofiend and me starting a YouTube channel was just for fun. Literally, my song, my first song on my channel, which was 2 years ago, the astrology trap song, that was not planned at all. I just was you know what, I'm gonna do a rap song, so let me just do it. And I did it, and it's out. And I kind of thought about doing a sort of podcast thing. So I was you know what? Might as well do that too. Let me just try it out. And yeah, it's just I'll get into that, but didn't really have a formal intro. But hello. Again, this is the Astrofiend. And how's everyone doing? 2020 has been weird and crazy so far, especially with Kobe Bryant dying. I'm not a basketball huge fan or anything like that, and I'm not a fan of him or anything like that, but I don't know why, but that hit me hard and unexpectedly hard. And yeah, because even though I'm not a basketball fan or anything like that, I grew up hearing about him. And I remember when Brandy was the singer Brandy was very popular. I remember just hearing stories about them, him taking her out to her prom, and just stuff like that, hearing about him, hearing about his legacy, seeing him, and him just dying, especially with his daughter, just like, I don't know, it just hit me so like, it was just terrible. Just terrible. And even like talking about it like makes me feel like kind of sad. But in terms of like how I've been doing since the corona, like, because we've been on lockdown for like almost 3 months. I think this week will make it 2 months. No, 2 months, almost 2 months. April, May. Yeah, so this week I think we'll make it like 2 months since we've been on lockdown. By the way, people say quarantine, but like, we're not in quarantine. We're like, I guess on lockdown. Like, quarantine is for people that are sick. And yes, like, we could use that word interchangeably, but it kind of like bothers me how everyone's calling it quarantine. Like, quarantine's for people that are sick. And to my knowledge, like, we're not sick. This is not like a Walking Dead scenario. Like, we're protecting ourselves and our loved ones from getting sick. But to my knowledge, we're not sick. But, you know, like, supposedly, like, we could be, like, asymptomatic and, like, travel and, like, pass it on to other people and stuff like that. So who, like, freaking knows? Honestly, like, no one knows shit about this. But it's definitely real. This ain't no fake shit. And, you know, we gotta protect ourselves the best that we can. But anyways, how I've been doing? It's been 2 months. Honestly, like, when we like went into lockdown, like, I was angry. And honestly, I fluctuate between like sadness and anger. And I was angry because I'm an Aries. So right around the time of like the lockdown was like my birthday. And you know, like, I'm not like no spring chicken, but I'm not like old or anything like that. No offense to all the old people out there, but I'm not no spring chicken. And this year I wanted to like celebrate my birthday because the ending of like last year was like very hard. And this was like something like special for me because I was finally getting back into the grooves of thing. And I actually like wanted to like do something for my birthday. And I'll explain more of that a little bit later. But yeah, so just like anger and like sadness. And like indifference. Like the first like couple of weeks of lockdown, I just like rewatched the Harry Potter movies. Like, I have all the Harry Potter movies. And, like, Harry Potter is, like, the shit. Like, I love all the movies. Especially Prisoner of Azkaban. And, I would say Prisoner of Azkaban. Definitely the Deathly Hallows. Like, both movies. What else? Not the Goblet of Fire. That was kind of whack. No offense. I think the one after that with Umbridge, that fucking bitch. But yeah, Umbridge, yeah. But yeah, I watch Harry Potter because I love it. And I think I'm making a pledge that at least once a year I should watch Harry Potter, like the movies again. Because I don't know, I just love the movies, especially from the third movie onwards. Like, I just really love like the story of Harry Potter. Like, I'm not one of those people that read all the books. I only read like 2.5. But the movies, I just love them. And like, I don't know, I just love them and they make me happy. So I was like, you know what, let me rewatch Harry Potter because Harry Potter's the shit. So I did that. And then I spent a lot of time on YouTube. To be honest, I didn't really get into Netflix that much. Like, I'm kind of in and out. I've been mostly on like YouTube, like watching like different like videos from random ass YouTubers, like makeup and crime shit and all that other stuff. By the way, I have like this white noise thing, and it's like monks. But I just been on YouTube. I kind of watch Netflix, and I watched that series Waco, and I guess that was about it. But yeah, just like again, like anger and like sadness, and like with the anger is like, I don't know, like spring is my favorite. It's like one of my favorite seasons. I have two favorite seasons, fall and spring. And you know, I'm a spring baby. I love spring. That's when the weather starts getting nicer and the sun's out, but it's not too hot, which is like perfect because I don't like the heat. I don't hate summer, but I don't like the heat, which kind of like, it kind of makes you think that you hate summer, but I don't hate summer. I love the sun, but I don't like the heat. Like the humidity, like it's just disgusting. Like I don't like it. But spring is like my favorite season, and the weather start getting nicer, and it's also like, I'm an Aries, so it's like birthday coming up, and I didn't do shit, and I was angry about it. Oh, and I also watched Lord of the Rings. I think on my birthday I watched the Lord of the Rings series. I think I skipped one movie though, because they're very long. So I watched Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But yeah, just anger, sadness, hopefulness, like thinking about life, thinking about like all the things I want to do. I don't know why, but once you can't do something, you want to do it more. Like I've been thinking about all the food that I want to eat, like Shake Shack. Yeah, Shake Shack. Getting some pizza, like just, I don't know, like especially like the ending of last year and how like hard that was. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much towards the ending of last year, you know, typical like sun in the eighth house shit, like, which is like pretty much instability, unstableness. And well, it was like the summer of like 2019, I like had an injury that required surgery, and I pretty much missed that on summer. Then I missed that on like my favorite like season, fall. And winter, you know what, I would say the timing, even though the injury was terrible, it was kind of perfect, because by winter I really started to improve, and I was able to somewhat get back to not a normal life, but I was able to start working again and like being more independent. And like, it's just been a long process, a hard process, and just like really like not physically painful, but like emotionally painful, because you know, surgery is trauma. Like surgery ain't no joke. Like for me, it was like a minor surgery, but it's still surgery. They still cutting into you, and you still have scar tissue, you still have to heal and all that other crap. And that's why like like this year's birthday was like important to me, because I was starting to get back into the groove of things and started to like life be normal. So that's why I was like so angry. I was like, oh my gosh, as soon as I start getting better, this happened, which is like so like selfish. in the grand scale of things, and like sounds so like trivial and all that other crap, because people are literally dying, and like there's no like sort of effective treatment other than like ventilation, and it's just a crazy time. And you feel kind of selfish and like silly. Like I feel kind of selfish and silly about that, but I don't know, it's just like, I would say, puts a lot of things into perspective, which is where the sadness and anger comes in. And I'm sure like other people are feeling that way. Like I talk to like people, and I like go online and I hear about people having anxiety, people being afraid. Like some people are having weird dreams and nightmares. Some people are having spiritual awakenings and revelations and all that other stuff. And I don't know, it's just a strange time. And honestly, my life hasn't changed that much, other than like me like wanting to like be more out there now that my life was like kind of returning back to normal. But yeah, it's just a strange time. Like 2019, like the first half of 2019 was like wonderful. Well, no, I'm lying. It wasn't wonderful. It was actually really hard. I don't know, it was really hard, but also like very optimistic. I don't know how to describe it, but like that's been like my mode. Things are very hard, very painful, very traumatic, but also there's like optimism and hope. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a weird like space to be in. But I mean, it is what it is. Like I'm grateful. I'm grateful I have my health. I'm grateful my family has their health. I'm grateful that like I don't know. I'm just grateful to like have like a roof over my head, even though it's not like perfect and I want to get the fuck up out of here. But I'm just grateful because anything can happen. Like honestly, like all like the shit that I've been through in my life, and now like there's so much instability, like it just makes me like feel grateful, and like just feel grateful for the things, not necessarily material things, but the things in my life. Like on a day-to-day basis, things are hard and it's painful and traumatic, but on like a weekly sort of basis, like I don't know, I can point out the things that I'm grateful for, and I could see it and feel it in a way that before like I wasn't able to, if that makes any sense. Like there's so much shit that we take for granted, and then when something bad happens, that's when we like get some sense, you know what I mean? Honestly, excluding like the bad stuff and like people dying and people suffering, like that's what we know, like what we're made of and what we can like improve on. And yeah, because I have Sun in the 8th, and I also have Mercury in the 8th. And I don't know, like shout out to all the Plutonians out there. Like y'all are holding it down. We are holding it down. Yeah. And I also have like Moon in Scorpio, so fun. Psych. No. No fun. Well, sometimes fun. But yeah. Also, creativity. I've been feeling more creative since there's more time that we have, since we're not really doing anything. Like, I'm not working from home, so. But, just more time to be creative. That's why, like, I have that new song, Aquarius, Uranus, the alien song, which I like. I love all my songs, even if they're not like perfect. I just love it. I just like re-listening to them again, because I'm like thinking, this is me. Like this is like the whole point of like me being out on like YouTube. It's not for clout. It's not for like, I don't know. It's for myself. And if people happen to enjoy it or want to listen, go right ahead. Like, I kind of promote it, but I kind of don't either, because it's for myself. Like, I have to remind myself that it's for myself. Like, again, yes, I could be doing more, but it's just like an extension of like my creativity. Because I also have Uranus, Neptune, and the North Node in the 5th house. So there goes. So that's like what I want to do. Also with my blog, like, I just wanted to do something more fun, more ratchet, more crazy. So I was like thinking, yeah, let me do that. Why not? Yeah. But I mean, how are you guys doing? Like, are you afraid? Are you happy? Are you angry? Do you want to go out and party and live it up? Like, for me, like, again, like, my life hasn't changed that much. Like, I'm introverted. I feel weird saying that I'm introverted, because I'd rather go by my astrology than by the Myers-Briggs. Because in the Myers-Briggs, I am an INFJ. Yeah, I think INFJ. Yeah. But like, when I like look up the comments and read like what people have to say, it's just like ridiculous. I'm so shy. I'm so this, I'm so that. Like, I don't consider myself shy. I'm quiet, but I'm not shy. Like, literally, like, the job that I do have, I'm literally talking to strangers, like, every day, all the time. And like, you can't really be shy and go up to strangers and talk to them. Like, of course, it's my Aries sun and my Leo, like, rising. Well, my Aries sun conjunct Mercury and my Leo rising, that like makes me like want to like be more open and like talk to people. But like when I'm home, like, it's not the opposite, but it's the opposite, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm not shy at home, like, obviously, but at the same time, I'm not like social. Like, I don't hate my own company, if that makes any sense. Like, I find ways to keep myself entertained, and I know that's hard for a lot of extroverted people that like like to go out drinking and partying and all that other shit. But again, like, my life hasn't like really like changed in that end. Yeah, it hasn't changed. And like, cause like, I can understand where like there's some like introversion. Like, I would say I'm more introverted than extroverted, but I can be extrovert, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm fucking like Aries, and we bold as fuck. Shout out to all my Aries. And I got a Leo rising, so we bold as fuck. But at the same time, my moon is in Scorpio, and I have Venus in Pisces. And Mars in Aquarius is either way. Like, it can be social, but at the same time can be very, like, independent and, like, not what the fuck shit. Like, that whole I hate humanity thing. Like, I fucking hate humans. Yeah. Like, on that flow. But, yeah. Hasn't changed much. But, yeah. I'm also, I guess, going through my Saturn return. Yeah. Just going through my Saturn return. Saturn in Aquarius. Yay! Sometimes I think about, like, my whole, like, injury and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, was it because Saturn was in Capricorn? And I'm just thinking about, like, the astrology, like, behind it, because I think Capricorn rules bones, and stuff like that, and, like, has to also do with, like, health and all that other crap. So I'm just thinking perhaps that's a part of it, because I'm one of the people that likes to find meaning in things. Like, this happens for a reason. Like, that sort of annoying ass person. Like, I sincerely believe, like, shit happens for a reason. We may not understand it, but shit happens for a reason. Like, I'm also a 9 life path, and that's like a spiritual life path person, and we on our spiritual shit, and I just like to, like, try to find, like, the meaning in things, and I try very hard to use, like, I guess, like, my experiences to motivate me. It doesn't always work, and it's like a time-consuming process and random, but I consider myself Plutonian and Sagittarian. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm more like Plutonian than Sagittarian, but I'm definitely, like, Sagittarian. Like, there's no way about it. And yeah, and those are the outer planets, the transpersonal planets. And Saturn is a bit quicker than Pluto, but, like, they work in, like, very, like, similar ways. And it's about, like, a coal turning into a diamond, and that pressure that it takes, and all that other crap that all the self-help gurus say, all the motivational speakers say. But trying to find this silver lining, but without being annoying, because honestly, like, overtly optimistic people fucking annoy me. They're annoying as hell. Like, I don't want to be around them, like, because sometimes I think that's kind of fake. Not that there's anything wrong with being optimistic, but I feel that a lot of overtly optimistic people, but not necessarily overtly optimistic people, but the ones that like, put like motivational quotes and like try to give people advice and shit like that, those people, not the ones that are just like living their life like happy and like skipping in the rain type shit. No, the people that go out and seek you out and try to give you advice and like always speaking quotes and all that shit, like they fucking piss me off. I'm like thinking like, what are you hiding? Like what are you hiding? Yeah, it's good to be like optimistic, but you also gotta be real, and you gotta acknowledge like your pain, like especially your pain. Like pain rules the world. You know that fucking like quote, hurt people, and you know why they fucking hurt people? Because they don't deal with their own fucking pain, period. But yeah, I mean, I'm just rambling, but I'm just like thinking about Saturn and Aquarius and how like it fits in this sort of situation, the social distancing. Like I wrote like a blog post about it on theastrofiend.com. Check it out. It's the shit. Like it's a great like article in my opinion. But I'm just gassing myself up. Whatever. But yeah, like it's an interesting time. Like Uranus and Aquarius especially, like trining Pluto and Capricorn and squaring Saturn and Aquarius. So that's like very like interesting energy going on. And yeah, it's just like interesting like energy. And it's like a game changer and random, but like 2020, like the decade started out like what the fuck. Like honestly, I'm sidetracking, but I wasn't happy for 2020, like the year itself, because I wrote another like blog post talking about like New Year's shouldn't really be in like January. It should honestly start in the springtime, but whatever. But yeah, like I was really excited for like 2020. Like you're still the same person you were like December 31st and January 1st. It's not much of a difference. It's still the dead of winter in like my hemisphere anyway, not in like Australia or anything like that, but it's still the dead of winter. It's still fucking cold outside. You can't do anything, so all you gotta do is just sit there and plan, which makes sense. But like March makes much more sense for it to like be a new year, because even if it's on the 20th or the 21st, when the spring like equinox and the venereal, I think that's how you pronounce it, equinox starts, like it makes more sense because the weather is getting better. And like we all need that vitamin D depending on where you live. But if you don't live in the hot environment, like you need that vitamin D, and like by March that's when everything starts coming out. There may be a random ass snowstorm or whatever, but overall like the weather's improving, so the vitamin D is out, people are feeling better, they want to take out their like coats. Well, unless you have like allergies. If you have allergies, then you're like fucked a little bit, not all the way, but just a little bit. I'm all over the place, but yeah, that aside, like it's just interesting like energy like being thrown out there, and I won't say the timing is perfect because it's not. Like, this is a serious fucking thing. But again, like a coal, that pressure, it'll turn into a diamond. And we as like a, I'm talking specifically about Americans because I'm Americans. I don't know how it is elsewhere, but especially us as Americans, we need to start thinking more about different ways of being. And I mentioned this, but like Uranus and like Taurus, we gotta like start rebelling against our, what we're used to. I won't say our nature because it's not necessarily our like nature. Maybe our culture, but not our nature. But we gotta kind of start rebelling against that, and that's the Saturn and Aquarius part of it. Like, we're social distancing, which is like it's kind of perfect because there's two archetypes for Saturn and Aquarius. There's the social climber that's very social, that's very innovative, that like it's very community oriented and humanitarian. But there's also another side to Aquarius, and very like strict, very dogmatic, and very, it's kind of like, I know, like, okay, random, but I think I go by both modern and traditional rulers for like the signs and the planets. So Saturn to me is ruled by both Capricorn, which is the more modern ruler, well, traditional ruler, but I also say more modern in relation to Aquarius, because I also think Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, but that's the more traditional, and Uranus is the more modern, if that makes any sense. So technically, to me, Saturn is domicile in Aquarius and also domicile in Capricorn, or home in Capricorn. Right? I guess, what is it called? Mutual reception? No, wrong. Cut that out. I'm not cutting that out. But yeah, I just like feel like I go by like both rulers. So for like Pisces, it'll be Jupiter as the traditional and Neptune as the modern. And like for Pluto, well, no, for Scorpio, traditional is Mars, and Pluto is like the more modern one. So like with the Saturn and Aquarius energy, there's one archetype about the humanitarian, social, loves humanity, wants to help, blah blah blah. But there's also the one that's very much a loner, that's very strict, and kind of floats in between the more Saturn part and the more Uranus part. So it's like a mixture. It's not one or the other. Like with like very like dogmatic sort of people, like, you know, like the Antarcticus, like whatever, I can't pronounce it now, but the people that are like anti-government, anti-this, they're dogmatic, and there's a sort of discipline and strictness that comes with it that's from the Saturn side. But there's also Uranus side, and that's like the rebellious, revolutionary, can't take no shit from no one, nowhere, no way, no how, that kind of energy. And I feel that's what's kind of going on with like La Llorona. That's what I call it, by the way. And I know some YouTubers are talking about how you can't say that word because they're gonna demonetize. I'm not being monetized, so I don't care. But like La Llorona, you know, I'm just trying to keep it light and not so serious. even though it's a very serious time. But just like two different sides of like Aquarius energy, and how like it's just like very like interesting. And just to quote myself in a previous article that I wrote in my blog, The Astrofiend, and it's called I have to say it, Coronavirus Multi-Transpersonal Planet Stellium in Capricorn, Saturn moving into Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, unpredictable, uncertain, and revolutionary times. And to quote that blog post, that long ass title, but to quote myself, and this is where Saturn in Aquarius comes in. Honestly, I'm one of those astrologists that thinks that a planet is ruled by both the modern and traditional ruler. Of course, the modern ruler is more important and the relevant one, but the traditional ruler carries the sign in its womb and raised it so it could be realized as its modern ruler. I think both Uranus and Saturn rule Aquarius. It has both energies in it. That way it's domiciled or dignified in Aquarius. Capricorn, being a cardinal earth sign, got things rolling in Saturn by realizing its power and becoming self-actualized. Now Aquarius, being a fixed air sign, must dig its heels in and work hard to rebel and later on achieve independence. Saturn in Aquarius is a lot of things, with it being very contradictory. Aquarius is a fixed sign, but it's also an air sign, dogmatic, stubborn, fixed energy. In its high ideals, but also logical and changeable when presented with new information and data, which is like air energy. Saturn is a rebel outsider, Uranus, but at the same time is a social air sign that needs to communicate. Saturn fights for freedom and independence, but knows that it is not possible because we are individuals in a community. To solely rely on your individuality is egotistical and makes you a bitter, selfish, antisocial recluse with sociopathic tendencies. But to give up your individuality is a betrayal of self and humanity. It's honestly a pendulum. Anyways, there's so many angles with Saturn and Aquarius. In this time, we must fight for ourselves, our power, and others' uniqueness and power. Embrace our uniqueness and individuality, while at the same time be discerning of groups like the media, the government, the internet, anarchists, militias, new age spiritual and religious cults that want to manipulate you and take your power away. This is a time to find your tribe, but at the same time to find yourself. Saturn Aquarius will be squaring Uranus in Taurus, so there is resistance between radical sustainability and the hard work of mastering the dual role of being an individual in a community, aka Saturn Aquarius. Like, you see this right now with everything that's going on. Like, there's people that are refusing to social distancing, saying that it's taking away their rights and their freedoms. And on one end, there's also people saying, oh, we must social distancing, and they're snitching on other citizens. Because it's a whole individual in the community. Do you want to be an individual? And it's weird. Like, to me, it's hard to balance being an individual and also being a part of a community. Like, sometimes you gotta choose one or the other. I don't necessarily think that it's possible to be both at the same time, like, in my opinion. like, in order to be part of a community and a society, you do have to, unfortunately, give up your rights and your individuality. But when is it enough? When is it like too much? Like, it's like this weird like balance. And there's a lot of people like storming their like state, like their government, state government, and like demanding that like the lockdown ends, or the quote unquote quarantine ends. But at the same time, there's people that saying like, listen, we don't want to die. We don't want to like others to die, or like us to infect our family, which is very serious and very important. Like, that's some scary ass shit. Like, it's like this weird dance that we have to do. It's just weird. And you know, there's some people that think there's a conspiracy, which, like, it makes sense. But is this the right time? I don't know. But I think it's interesting to, like, you know, just be informed, be aware, and, you know, to decide for yourself, which is the whole point about Aquarius. Deciding for your fucking self. Think for yourself. That's the whole point. Think for your fucking self. Make decisions for yourself and for your family. No one the fucking else. And this kind of brings me to like my points on Uranus and Taurus. Random, but supposedly Uranus and Taurus is in like detriment or something like that. It's either in detriment or fall. By the way, I don't really agree with outer planets like Uranus, Pluto, Neptune having like exhalations and detriments. Like, I don't really believe that shit, honestly. Like, I mean, it could be possible. It's just, yeah. Like, I don't know. I just think it's weird because like some people are saying that even with like Mercury, this is random, but even with Mercury, people are saying that like, I don't know, like Mercury and like Virgos exhales, which is like ridiculous. That's like ridiculous. And some people are saying that like Mercury and Aquarius is exhaled. I don't know, like the outer planets and Mercury, because honestly, like, I don't know. Cause like, even when you think about it, like, so are you telling me that then Mercury in Leo is in detriment? I don't know. I mean, I take like exhalations, detriments, that sort of thing with a grain of salt, because you know, you never know. I mean, like in certain planets, like it makes more sense. Like moon, like that makes sense. Like definitely the sun, because you know, I don't care. I want my exhalation. Like, listen, I'm an Aries. I want it. We're exhales. Fuck all y'all bitches. We're exhales. But yeah, like even with like Uranus in Aquarius, like we also have to think about ways on how to survive, because like this is a test for all of us to find new ways of doing things, because the world is so like interconnected and random. But when I was in school, this is so random, I don't know, I get sidetracked a lot, which is probably because I have Mercury square Uranus. LOL. It's a wide orb, but it's squared, so maybe that's it. But wait, what was my fucking point? Wait, I think I forgot what I was saying. What was my point? Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. LOLs. little L's. But yeah, with Saturn in Aquarius, like, you just gotta think about things. And with Uranus in Taurus, especially now that it's Taurus season, happy Taurus season to everyone. Shout out to all the Tauruses. You stuck celebrating your birthdays inside too. I'm sorry. But hopefully, that's the thing, you never know. Like, I wish that everything like goes away and all that stuff, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about all this. I just like, I don't want people to suffer or die. But at the same time, like, we also have to live, if that makes any sense. We all have to live. But again, with like getting into Uranus and Taurus, like, even though like Uranus has been in like Taurus for like for like a little under like 2 years, and yeah, so it's just getting started, and it's supposed to end Taurus season 2026, so we got a few more years. But it's just an interesting way that we have to start thinking about how to live our lives. Because I don't know if we are, but maybe. I say that we're in it, but I'm not sure. But I think possibly we're in like the age of Aquarius. I just want to say that we're in it because like all the technological shit that's going on. I mean, we could be in the shadow period. I don't know. I can't even tell you. I do not know. But yeah, but with Uranus in Aquarius, especially trining Pluto in Capricorn, and I'm not talking about orbs and degrees and all that shit. Like, technically it's not trining, what I don't care. Like, random, another sidetrack, but random. But like, I'm not too focused on like orbs and degrees, like, unless it's like a conjunction or something like that. Like, whatevs, you know what I mean? Like, of course, the tighter the orb and the smaller the degrees difference, the better and the stronger. But at the same time, I don't give a fuck about no orbs. Like, to me, Uranus in Taurus is trining Pluto in Capricorn, despite orbs and degrees and all that other bullshit. But yeah, like, with like Uranus and like Taurus, especially with Pluto and Capricorn, we have to start thinking about money more. Like 2008, 2009 was that big recession, which was like horrible. Not for me personally, because I wasn't like working and shit like that, but I've known people that like had a hard time finding a job after everything, and had to like do internships and all that other crap, and basically underpaid in order to survive. It was hard out here for people. But yeah, like it brings things into context, especially with everything with technology now and how much more advanced it is. Like, people are literally like becoming not billionaires, but millionaires online, selling stuff online, doing stuff online. We're like more online, and we're figuring out ways to like live life. Like, even with everything going, like, look at Zoom. That's such a Saturn, Aquarius, Uranus, and Taurus thing. People working from home. Such a Uranus and Taurus thing. It's like very inventive. Because, you know, Uranus is that like rebellious planet. And supposedly, Uranus is in fall in Taurus. I don't really pay attention to that. But supposedly. I mean, it could make sense. But again, like, I take it with a grain of salt. But it's just interesting to note that, like, before all this, I never really thought about Uranus and Taurus. I remember when people were, like, celebrating when Uranus first got into Taurus. They were like, oh my gosh, we're so over Uranus and Aries. Bring on Uranus and Taurus. I'm like, why the fuck do y'all care? Like, ugh. But now that I'm indoors and just, like, thinking about everything, like, I started thinking about, like, the interpretation of, like, Uranus, because revolution, rebellion, all that shit, like, it's a slow moving process. It takes time to develop, and especially with Pluto, like, it takes a lot of time to, like, develop these sorts of things. And to me, like, when a planet is in Uranus, like Uranus is in Taurus, in my personal opinion, I think it's a rebellion against its own nature. But at the same time, in its rebellion against its own nature, it's being more like its nature, if that makes any sense. Like, okay, Taurus, Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign, ruling the second house, and is ruled by Venus. And, you know, Venus is love, relationships, marriage, beauty, friendship, pleasure, art. But it's also material abundance. Because, you know, Taurus is like the money making sort of sign. It's about abundance. Because, you know, if you even think about the seasons, especially if you're like in, like, I think we're in the Western, America is in the Western Hemisphere, United States is in the Western Hemisphere. But especially thinking about that and how, like, the spring, how, like, the seasons go. Like, Taurus, that's when, like, spring is in, like, bloom. Flowers, the pollen's in the air, and people are sneezing and coughing, and people are looking at them crazy because they thinking they have La Llorona, if you know what I mean. But yeah, but Taurus, because there's two different sides of, like, Venus, and Taurus is the more earthy, physical, practical, like, side of Venus, and it's definitely about abundance. And, you know, since Taurus rules the second house, it's about values, monies, possessions, ways of earning, skills, building your own personal foundation and values. And with the coronavirus, a lot of people are working from home. A lot of people are losing their jobs, being laid off and furloughed. So people are like, I hope, I don't know, but maybe some people are thinking of ways, of rebellious sort of ways of how to, like, make money and how to survive. Like Zoom, like the online platform of Zoom, where people are doing meetings and working from home. Even the act of, like, working from home is very Saturn in Aquarius, but it's also very Uranus in Taurus, because it's about making the best of the situation. And in order to, like, have abundance, you have to realize your value and figure out your value. Like, the second house isn't just about money, but it's about spiritual abundance. And like, you know, one of my favorite like YouTube astrologers, Alyssa Sharp, but now she's like the Divine Venus. But she was just like mentioning that the second house is like very much about like values, and that without the second house, like the first house like wouldn't survive. I'm probably misquoting her because I haven't watched that video in a long time, but something like that. Like, in order to go out into the world and to survive in the world, we need to know like who we are and our value. And unfortunately, in the society that we live in, like, value is always related to money and material wealth. So like, we just have to figure out like our values. I'm sure people are having epiphanies right now and just like thinking of ways to like make extra money and to improve their skills. And you know, improvement of skills is value too. Like, don't get it twisted. Improvement of skills is value, like, too. Like, improving your skills, learning. And it kind of transitions into the third house, which is Gemini. And once we start figuring out our value more, that's when we start learning and consuming more and all that other crap. But just to get back to like Uranus and Taurus, I would say that even though Uranus is a very chaotic sort of energy, it's also very focused and stubborn, and it has its own agenda. Because out of the outer planets, Uranus takes like 7 to 8 years to like complete like a transit in a sign, with Pluto like taking the longest. So those 7-8 years, it has to be doing something, like developing. Again, just like spring, like stuff that were planted in the earth are starting to bloom and started to form, and they're not like there yet, but they're getting there, if that makes any sense. And yeah, and just like we have to think about new ways. I mean, when I say we have to think about it, you don't have to think about it. Listen, if you don't want to do anything during this time, then you don't have to. There's no fucking pressure. If you want to, go ahead. If you don't, whatever. But yeah, like, some people are just thinking about certain things, about their future and their value in relation to money and how to make good with what they have. And you know, that may be not falling into consumerism, thinking more about like their debt and trying to find ways to pay it down. Like thinking more about their spending now that like some people are not working, or they're working for less, or they lost their jobs, or they're hustling or whatever. Like, it's a great time to just like analyze like what you're doing, how you're spending money, where your values are at. Because again, like, Uranus is being supported by Pluto and Capricorn. Like, they're besties. Like, they're the besties. Trine aspects are besties. They're like the top sort of like relationship. And it's even like sextiling Neptune and Pisces, like a loose sextile. And like all these energies are working good together. Like with Neptune, like it's breaking boundaries of what we think is possible. Like, who in a million years thought that this shit could happen? I mean, to bring me back to a point. Remember when I got off track and I forgot my whole point? Now I'm bringing it back. I remember when I was in school, a long time ago. Not really, but really, not really though. I remember I did a project on the Spanish flu. And it's this crazy flu, like pandemic, that killed millions of people. And I think this was during the time of World War One. And the trenches, people like in the dirt, dirty, muddy, bloody, like bacterial infected, like anyways, just that time where people, like, I don't know, I just think it eerily parallels, not in the same ways, but just like that idea of like community, and how, like, now thinking about now, like how Neptune and Pisces just breaking boundaries, because there's nothing more like boundary breaking than a virus. Like, can we see a virus? Maybe in a microscope, but not really. It's pretty much like air. It's pretty much like mist. Like, we can't see it, but we know it's there. And it's just that, like, sort of energy. And again, as I keep mentioning, we are the coal that's being pressurized into a diamond. And working with that energy and all that other crap. But I think I've been talking for like an hour. Yeah, this is too long. Yeah, this is too long. Damn, I've been talking for like an hour. Oh shit. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting time, and just a time to just like think about sort of things, because this is also the start of a new decade. And I mentioned how I'm not excited about it being 2020. I am, however, excited that it's the start of a new decade, because there's so much things happening. The good time, the pain, like, we need all those experiences. Like, to me, like, we need the pain in order to appreciate the good that we have in life. We need the good in life to be happy, like, straight up. Like, there's so many shit going around the world. There's so many pain and sadness and all that other crap, and we need both. And right now, like, we're in the pain mode. And yeah, I could talk for more, but I'm all over the place. But yeah, hopefully this all saved. But check out my blog, theastrofiend.com. I'm working on Uranus and Taurus sort of blog posts, and I'm expanding the Saturn and Aquarius sort of posts. Also, I have a couple of songs coming out on my YouTube channel. I love them, and I don't know, I just like being creative. And even though I'm not a rapper or performer or anything like that, like, I will say I am a writer. I love to write. Anyways, I hope everyone is safe. And I just hope that we come out stronger and better. And yeah. Peace out. Be safe. Save your coins. Don't do drugs. And yeah. Bye, everyone. Check out my blog, The Astrofiend.